Welcome to English FlowZone. This is your space to relax, listen, and let English flow naturally into your life. Here, you'll improve your listening, vocabulary, pronunciation, and speaking through real-life conversations, inspiring stories, and immersive English practice. No pressure, no boring grammar drills, just clear, natural English that helps you understand more, speak with confidence, and enjoy the learning journey every single day. Whether you're studying, commuting, or simply relaxing, every lesson brings you one step closer to English fluency. Subscribe to English FlowZone, put on your headphones, and let your English flow. Let's begin today's lesson.
I am Natasha, your host for today.
If you're new here, let me quickly tell you that we upload a brand new English learning video every single day to help you improve your English faster and more confidently. In today's episode, you're going to improve not just your English speaking, but also your listening and your thinking in English. Today's lesson is all about something every English learner dreams of mastering: how to speak English like a pro. That's right, by the end of this video, you'll walk away with the mindset, the tools, and the real daily life examples that will push your speaking skills to a whole new level. Whether you're a beginner who struggles to say full sentences, or an intermediate learner who wants to sound more natural and confident, this video is designed just for you. We're going to explore how to speak smoothly, think quickly, choose the right words, and express yourself the way native speakers do. There will be plenty of practice and realistic examples, so you can follow along easily. Before we dive into all this goodness, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss a chance to improve your English with us. Alright, get your pen and notebook ready. It's time to begin. Speaking English like a pro is not about having a perfect accent or memorizing fancy vocabulary. It's about being able to communicate clearly, naturally, and confidently in real-life situations. One of the first steps in this journey is to stop thinking of English as a school subject and start treating it like a real-life tool. Imagine English as your passport to the world. When you speak it well, you can connect with more people, learn new things, and even boost your career. So the question is, how do we start sounding like a pro when we speak? The first and most powerful thing you can do is to focus on phrases, not just words. Professional English speakers don't translate one word at a time in their head. They speak in chunks, or phrases they've heard and used again and again. For example, instead of saying, "I go to gym," a more natural phrase is, "I hit the gym after work." It's these little details that make you sound fluent and professional. And how do you get used to these phrases? You need to hear them, read them, and most importantly, use them in your own sentences every day. Let's take a simple example. Suppose you meet someone new and want to ask about their job. A beginner might say, "What is your job?" Technically, that's correct. But a pro English speaker would probably say, "So, what do you do for a living?" Or, "What line of work are you in?" These sound much more natural. Now try this exercise with me. Think of 3 people you know. Imagine meeting each one of them and say out loud, "So, what do you do for a living?" Even if you're alone, say it. Saying it trains your mouth and brain to work together. That's what professionals do. They practice speaking even when nobody's watching. Another essential element of speaking English like a pro is confidence. Confidence doesn't come from knowing every grammar rule. It comes from being okay with making mistakes and still speaking anyway. If you're constantly afraid of making a mistake, your brain slows down. You pause too much. You second-guess every sentence. Professionals don't wait until they're perfect. They speak up and improve as they go. Think about this. Every native English speaker also makes mistakes. They forget words, mix up tenses, sometimes don't even finish their sentences. But the difference is they don't stop speaking. And neither should you. Let's try a quick confidence-building practice. Say this out loud. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm learning. I speak English with courage. Repeat it 3 times. This simple exercise trains your mindset to stay positive and relaxed when speaking English. The more relaxed you are, the more fluent you sound. Now let's talk about pronunciation. Not perfection, but clarity. To speak like a pro. Your goal is not to copy a British or American accent exactly. Your goal is to be clear and easy to understand. So instead of stressing over your accent, work on the sounds that matter the most. One helpful practice is to listen to short sentences from native speakers, then shadow them. Shadowing means you repeat immediately after the speaker, without pausing the audio. This improves your rhythm, your intonation, and your speaking speed. Let's practice together. I'll say a sentence, and I want you to repeat after me, without thinking too much. Just copy the sound and flow. Ready? Here it is. I didn't catch that. Can you say it again? Again. I didn't catch that. Can you say it again? One more time. I didn't catch that. Can you say it again? Practicing like this, even just 5 minutes a day, will help you speak more fluently and more naturally. Another secret to speaking like a pro is to stop translating in your head. When you translate from your native language, you lose speed and natural flow. Instead, you need to think directly in English. One great way to do this is to describe your daily actions in English. For example, when you wake up, say in your mind, I'm getting out of bed. When you make tea, say, I'm boiling the water. When you walk to the bus stop, say, I'm waiting for the bus. These simple sentences help your brain get used to thinking in English in real time. Try this small daily routine exercise. As you go about your day, try to describe 5 things you're doing. You don't have to say it loudly if you're shy. Just whisper or think it in English. For instance, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm checking my messages. I'm putting on my shoes. I'm locking the door. I'm heading to work. Doing this daily will create an English environment in your brain, and your speaking will become faster and more natural without extra effort. Speaking like a pro also means being able to handle everyday situations with ease. For instance, imagine you're ordering coffee. A beginner might say, give me a coffee, but a more polite and fluent version would be, could I get a medium latte, please? Or, can I have a black coffee to go? These small differences in wording make a big difference in how professional and polite you sound. Practice by imagining different real-life situations. Picture yourself at a restaurant, a train station, a grocery store, or a phone call with a customer service agent. Speak the sentences out loud, as if you're really there. This kind of practice builds confidence and fluency fast. Let's do one together. Imagine you're at a bakery and want to buy some bread. Say, hi, do you have any whole grain bread? Then say, I'll take 2 loaves, please. And finally, thank you, have a great day. These are simple sentences, but they're the kind that professionals use every day. Speaking English like a pro is not about long words. It's about the right words in the right moment. Another powerful habit that professional English speakers develop is repetition with variation. This means repeating the same idea using slightly different expressions or sentence structures. It's a great way to build fluency and flexibility in speaking. For example, if you want to say you're tired, instead of only saying I'm tired every time, You can also say, I'm exhausted, I'm worn out, or I could really use a break. These expressions all mean the same thing, but show variety and depth in your language. To speak like a pro, you must learn to say things in more than one way, just like native speakers do. Let's try a little repetition with variation practice together. Imagine you had a long, busy day. Try saying each of these out loud one by one. I had such a long day. Today was really tiring. I'm feeling totally drained. I need some rest. These kinds of expressions not only help you sound more fluent, but they also help you express emotions and situations more clearly. So next time you want to say something, challenge yourself to say it in 3 different ways. Another essential part of sounding like a professional speaker is mastering small talk. Small talk might sound like meaningless conversation, but it's actually a powerful social tool that helps you connect with others. In English-speaking cultures, small talk is a big deal. Whether it's chatting with coworkers, meeting someone new, or even just speaking to a cashier. Being good at small talk helps you sound friendly and confident. Simple questions like, how's your day going, or busy morning, can break the ice and lead to smoother conversations. Let's practice a small talk scenario. Imagine you're in an elevator with a coworker. You could say, morning. Looks like we've both got early meetings today. Then maybe follow up with, did you get caught in traffic this morning? These kinds of remarks are friendly and light, but they show confidence and ease with the language. Practice thinking of situations in your day where you can use small talk, even if it's just with yourself at first. Another common situation where pro speakers shine is during opinions and discussions. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. When you give an opinion, instead of simply saying, I think, you can say, from my perspective, in my experience, or if you ask me. These expressions add variety and professionalism to your speech. For example, instead of saying, I think it's a good idea, you could say, from my perspective, it could really work. Or, in my experience, that approach usually gets results. Let's turn this into a practice exercise. I'll say a simple opinion and then you try to express it in a more advanced way. Ready? The simple opinion is, I think learning English is important. Now try saying it with variation. In my experience, learning English opens up so many opportunities. Try another. If you ask me, speaking English is a skill worth mastering. This type of practice helps you sound more thoughtful and professional, especially in work or study environments. Now let's look at how professional English speakers use connectors and transitions to make their speech smoother. Connectors like, however, therefore, on the other hand, as a result, and meanwhile, help you connect ideas and sound more organized. For example, instead of saying 2 separate sentences like, I was tired, I went to bed, you can say, I was tired, so I went to bed early. It's small changes like this that make your speaking more natural. Try this little exercise with me. I'll give you 2 ideas, and you try to connect them with a transition. Idea 1, it was raining. Idea 2, I forgot my umbrella. Now connect them. You could say, it was raining. Unfortunately, I forgot my umbrella. Or, it was raining, and to make matters worse, I forgot my umbrella. Try this one. I wanted to go to the park. It started to rain. You might say, I wanted to go to the park, but then it started to rain. This kind of transition work makes your speech smooth and professional. Another tip to speak English like a pro is to become comfortable with pauses. You might think fluent speakers talk quickly without stopping, but the truth is, the best speakers pause on purpose. They pause to think, to emphasize something, or to let the listener absorb what they're saying. A well-placed pause makes you sound more confident and in control of your speech. It gives the impression that you are choosing your words carefully. and delivering your message with thought. Let's try practicing with pauses. Say this slowly and clearly. I believe that with the right mindset and consistent practice, anyone can become fluent in English. Feel the rhythm of the sentence. Don't rush. Pausing helps your listener follow along and helps you avoid filler words like and you know. Professionals use pauses wisely, and now so can you. Now let's shift to something practical, asking for clarification. In real conversations, especially when you're learning, you might not always understand everything, but instead of saying what or staying silent, a professional speaker uses polite expressions. For instance, you can say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "I didn't catch that, can you say it again?" Or even, "Would you mind explaining that a bit more?" These expressions keep the conversation respectful and smooth. Practice with me now. Imagine someone says something fast and you don't understand. Say this, "I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that?" Then try, "I didn't quite get that, could you say it again more slowly?" Repeat both a few times until they come naturally. These phrases show that you are engaged in the conversation and willing to learn, which is exactly what professional speakers do. Another way to sound more professional is to reduce hesitation by preparing set phrases for daily life. These are ready-to-use expressions you can use without thinking too much. For example, if you're running late, you can say, "I'm so sorry for being late. Traffic was terrible today." If you need help, say, "Could you give me a hand with this?" Or, "Do you mind helping me out?" These are phrases you can memorize and practice daily, so they come out automatically in real situations. Try this speaking drill with me. Imagine you're late to a meeting. Say, "I apologize for being late. I got stuck in traffic." Now imagine you need help moving a box. Say, "Could you give me a hand with this box?" One more. You're at work and need clarification. Say, "Just to clarify, are we meeting at 3 or 4? Practicing these realistic expressions prepares your brain to speak smoothly under pressure. Now, let's explore the role of storytelling in professional English speaking. Great communicators know how to tell short, interesting stories to explain ideas or make conversations more engaging. You don't need to be a writer to do this. You just need to learn how to describe simple events in a way that others can follow. Start with when it happened, what happened, and how you felt. For example, last weekend I went hiking with a few friends. The weather was perfect, and we found this beautiful hidden waterfall. It was such a peaceful experience. I really needed that break. Let's turn storytelling into a practice exercise. Think of a simple event from your past week. Maybe you went shopping, visited a friend, or cooked a new recipe. Now try to tell the story in English. Start by setting the time, last Friday or a couple of days ago. Then describe the event. I went to the market to buy some vegetables, but I ended up buying way more than I needed. Then finish with how you felt. It was a bit funny because I couldn't carry all the bags home. Practicing like this helps you learn how to express past events fluently, and this is one of the most common things we do in conversation. Talk about what happened. Now let's talk about reacting naturally in conversation. Pro speakers don't just speak, they listen and react. When someone tells you something, your response can show interest, surprise, or agreement. Instead of just nodding or saying, "Okay," try phrases like, "Oh, really? That's interesting," or "Wow, I didn't know that." These expressions help keep the conversation alive and engaging. They also show that you understand and are emotionally involved in what the other person is saying. Let's practice these reactions together. Say, "That's amazing." Now try, "Really? I had no idea." Then say, "Oh no, what happened next?" These phrases are perfect for showing curiosity or empathy, and they're a big part of sounding like a natural speaker. The more emotion and tone you add, the better. To speak like a pro, you also need to improve how you ask questions. Not just basic ones like, what's your name, or where do you live? But more advanced, open-ended ones that lead to deeper conversation. For example, instead of asking, do you like your job? You can ask, what do you enjoy most about your work? These types of questions invite longer answers and show that you're truly interested in the other person's thoughts. Try this practice. Imagine you're talking to someone new. Instead of asking, where are you from? Ask, what's something interesting about your hometown? Instead of, do you have a hobby? Ask, what do you love doing in your free time? These kinds of questions are what pro speakers use to build meaningful conversations. Practice them in your mind or out loud whenever you can. Another thing professional English speakers do is avoid overusing basic words. Instead of always saying very, they choose stronger words. For example, instead of very hungry, say starving. Instead of very tired, say exhausted. This makes your speech more colorful and expressive. And you don't need to learn all the synonyms in one day. Start with 5 or 10 and practice using them in your everyday life. Let's do a quick vocabulary upgrade exercise. I'll say a basic sentence, and you'll try to improve it. Ready? The basic sentence is, I'm very cold. You could say, I'm freezing. Now try, I'm very happy. A stronger version would be, I'm thrilled, or I'm over the moon. One more, I'm very scared. You could say, I'm terrified. Practicing these upgrades helps you sound more advanced without needing complex grammar. Professional English speakers also know how to end conversations politely. A lot of learners focus so much on starting a conversation that they forget how to end one smoothly. You can't just say bye and walk away, it feels a bit sudden. Instead, use polite phrases like, anyway, I should get going, or it was nice chatting with you, or let's catch up again soon. These phrases make you sound respectful and socially aware. Try this conversation closer. Anyway, it was great talking to you. Let's stay in touch. Now say, I'd better run, I've got a meeting coming up. Talk to you later. These lines are useful not only in casual settings, but also in professional environments. Ending well is just as important as starting strong. Let's talk about tone. Tone is how you say things, not just what you say. You could say, thanks a lot, and it can sound sincere or sarcastic, depending on your tone. Pros understand that tone adds meaning to their words. They use a friendly tone when greeting someone, a serious tone in formal situations, and a relaxed tone when chatting with friends. Practicing tone is something many learners skip, but it's key to sounding natural. Here's a tone practice exercise. Say the phrase, I didn't know that, in 3 different tones. First, say it in a surprised tone, I didn't know that. Now say it in a serious tone, I didn't know that. And now say it in a sad tone, oh, I didn't know that. You can hear how the feeling changes, even though the words stay the same. That's the power of tone. When you practice, don't just say the words, feel them. Pro English speakers also use fillers, but they use them wisely. Fillers like, you know, well, actually, and let me think are part of natural English, especially in conversation. But be careful, using them too much can make you sound unsure. The trick is to use fillers occasionally, to give yourself time to think, or to sound more relaxed. For example, you might say, well, I'm not really sure about that. Or, actually, I think there's a better way to do it. Let's try using fillers in a sentence. Say, well, I guess that makes sense. Now try, let me think. Maybe we could try something different. These little phrases add natural rhythm to your speech and help you avoid awkward silence while thinking. Finally, let's explore mindset. Speaking English like a pro is not just about words, it's also about attitude. If you believe that you can speak fluently, you're more likely to push through mistakes and grow. If you believe you'll always struggle, you'll hesitate more and give up easily. That's why it's important to encourage yourself. Speak kindly to yourself when you're learning. Celebrate your progress, even if it's small. Every sentence you say, every new word you learn, it all adds up. Let's end this part with a positive affirmation practice. Repeat after me, I am improving every day. Now say, I can speak English clearly and confidently. One more, I'm proud of how far I've come. These statements might feel simple, but they shift your mindset in powerful ways. Confidence grows with practice. And speaking like a pro starts with believing that you can. Now let's explore the power of daily speaking rituals. One thing that all professional English speakers have in common is that they create time to speak every day, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes. This might be through talking to themselves, reading aloud, recording voice notes, or having short conversations with others. These small daily habits create a huge impact over time. It's just like going to the gym. If you go once a month, nothing changes. But if you do it every day, even just a little, you get stronger. Speaking English is the same. Every word you say, every phrase you repeat, is like a workout for your fluency. Let's try setting up a simple speaking ritual right now. Choose one daily task like brushing your teeth, making tea, or getting ready for bed. Each time you do it, say out loud what you're doing in English. For example, I'm brushing my teeth now. I need to get ready for the day. I'll make a cup of tea after this. Make it a routine. Over time, you'll find your speaking speed and sentence structure becoming smoother without needing to force it. Another thing professionals do is reflect on their speaking. This means after having a conversation, they think about what went well and what they could improve. Did they hesitate too much? Did they forget a word? Did they use new vocabulary? Reflecting is powerful because it helps you become aware of your growth. You don't need to write long notes. Just take a moment to say, today I used 3 new phrases, or I need to practice how to express my opinion better. This kind of awareness turns daily speaking into active learning. Try this reflection practice tonight. Before you go to bed, ask yourself, what English did I speak today? Then say, one thing I did well was, and one thing I want to improve is. These small reflections create big progress. Professionals are always reflecting, adjusting, and improving. Let's now focus on role play, another powerful way to speak like a pro. Role-playing means imagining yourself in different situations and acting them out in English. This is how actors train. And it's also how many successful language learners build fluency. The key is to make it realistic. Choose a situation like going to a restaurant, attending a job interview, or making a phone call. Speak both sides of the conversation if you don't have a partner. This builds not just your vocabulary, but also your speed, tone, and confidence. Let's try a quick role play now. Imagine you're booking a hotel room on the phone. Say, hello, I'd like to make a reservation, please. Then imagine the person asks for the dates. You say, yes, from the 10th to the 12th of next month. Then they ask about the room type, and you reply, a double room with a balcony, if possible. Finish with, thank you. Can you please confirm the booking by email? Practicing like this prepares you for real-life moments when you need to speak with confidence. Another habit that leads to professional fluency is learning from mistakes without being discouraged. Many learners feel embarrassed when they say something wrong. But pro speakers know that every mistake is a step toward fluency. Mistakes are not a sign of failure. They are signs of effort. The key is to notice the mistake, learn from it, and move on. If you said he go to school instead of he goes to school, just correct it and repeat it the right way. Say, oh, I meant he goes to school. That's it. Don't apologize or feel bad. Just correct and continue. Here's a simple mistake repair practice. Imagine you said, she don't like pizza. You notice the mistake and say out loud, oops, correction, she doesn't like pizza. Try another one, I can to swim. Now correct it, I can swim. Make this a daily habit. When you notice a mistake, fix it gently and keep going. This is exactly how professionals grow. Now, let's look at how listening improves your speaking. Pro speakers are excellent listeners. They pay attention to how others speak, what words they use, how they react, and how they connect ideas. By listening to native speakers through podcasts, shows, or real conversations, you absorb the rhythm, flow, and natural patterns of English. Listening is like feeding your brain the language it needs to produce. Here's a listening to speaking practice. Find a short clip of a native speaker, maybe 1 minute long. Listen to it twice. Then pause and try to repeat what they said. Try to copy not just the words, but the tone and speed. Even if you don't get it perfect, it's powerful training for your mouth and brain. You can do this with TV shows, YouTube videos, or even this video you're watching right now. The more you listen and repeat, the more fluent and professional you'll become. Another professional tip is to expand your vocabulary and context. Don't just memorize word lists. Instead, learn new words inside real sentences. For example, instead of memorizing the word improve, practice with a phrase like, I want to improve my English. Or with instead, say, I'll have tea instead of coffee. When you learn words in context, you're more likely to remember and use them correctly. Let's try a mini practice now. I'll give you 3 new words and sample sentences. First word. Effective. Use it like this. This method is very effective for learning. Second word. Prefer. Try. I prefer studying in the morning. Third word. Conversation. Say, I had a great conversation with my friend today. Now try making your own sentence with each word. That's how vocabulary becomes active and useful. Professional English also includes the ability to adjust your speaking style. You don't speak the same way to your boss as you do to your best friend. In formal settings, you might say, would you be able to send me that file by tomorrow? In casual settings, you'd say, can you send me that file later? Learning when to use formal versus informal language is important, especially if you use English for work, study, or travel. Let's practice a style switch. Formal. I would like to schedule a meeting to discuss the project. Now informal. Let's meet up to talk about the project. Both are correct, but the tone changes based on the situation. Try saying both aloud. Notice how your voice also changes slightly. Professionals know how to shift tone and language depending on the audience. Before we wrap up this section, let's talk about flow. Speaking like a pro means speaking with flow. This doesn't mean speaking fast, it means speaking smoothly, without too many stops or stumbles. To build flow, use linking words like and, but, because, and so. Also, practice speaking slowly and clearly, focusing on pronunciation and rhythm. Let's do a short flow practice. I'll say a sentence, and you repeat it in one smooth breath. I woke up early this morning, made some coffee, and went for a quick walk. Try it again. I woke up early this morning, made some coffee, and went for a quick walk. Feel the rhythm. That's what natural flow sounds like. It takes time, but with practice, your speaking will become smoother and more professional each day. Now let's talk about one of the most overlooked, yet powerful techniques for speaking English like a pro: mirroring. Mirroring is when you listen to how someone speaks and try to match their tone, pace, and expressions. It's something we naturally do in our first language, especially when we talk to people we admire or feel comfortable around. In English learning, mirroring is a great way to build natural speaking habits. When you hear a phrase that sounds impressive or useful, repeat it the same way. Don't just copy the words, copy the emotion and rhythm behind them. Here's how you can try mirroring today. Choose a speaker you like from a podcast or video. Play a sentence, pause it, and then say the exact same sentence, matching their voice and speed as closely as you can. For example, if they say, "I couldn't believe how fast the day went by," you repeat with the same rhythm. "I couldn't believe how fast the day went by." This is how actors and speakers train, and it works wonders for fluency. The more you mirror native speakers, the more naturally you'll speak in conversations. Let's go deeper into rhythm and stress. English is a stress-timed language, which means some words in a sentence are said more strongly, while others are said quickly and quietly. In the sentence, "I need to go to the store," the important words are need, go, and store. The rest are said more softly. Native speakers naturally emphasize the key words. As a learner, practicing this stress pattern can make your speech sound much more fluent and natural. Try this exercise with me. Say, "I need to go to the store." Now say it again. But stress the bold words, "I need to go to the store." Repeat it a few times until it feels smooth. Now try another one. "She doesn't want to talk about it." You'll notice that stressing the right words gives your sentence a nice flow, like music. That's rhythm in speaking. And mastering it makes you sound more like a native speaker. Another key skill is paraphrasing. When you forget a word or phrase, don't freeze. Try to say the idea in another way. This is what professional speakers do when their mind goes blank. For example, if you forget the word restaurant, you can say a place where you go out to eat. If you forget bored, say, "I have nothing to do and I'm not enjoying myself." Paraphrasing is a survival skill in speaking. It helps you keep the conversation going even when you forget the exact word. Here's a little paraphrasing practice. Imagine you forget the word nervous. How else could you say it? Try, "I feel a little shaky," or "I don't feel comfortable right now." Now try paraphrasing tired. You could say, "I need to rest," or "My energy is low." Practicing this helps you become a flexible speaker. Pro speakers don't know every word, but they know how to work around the ones they forget. Another powerful tool to sound professional in English is storytelling with emotion. As humans, we connect through stories, and adding emotion to your storytelling makes it memorable. For example, instead of saying, "I went to the beach," try, "I spent the whole afternoon at the beach. It was peaceful, the waves were gentle, and I felt completely relaxed." Notice how adding emotion and description brings the scene to life. That's what great speakers do. They don't just inform. They involve their listeners. Let's try emotional storytelling together. Think of a happy moment from your life. Describe it using your 5 senses. Say what you saw, heard, smelled, touched, and felt. For example, last Sunday, I sat by the window with a cup of hot coffee. The rain was falling outside. The smell of cinnamon was in the air, and I felt cozy and calm. This kind of practice strengthens your ability to create vivid, engaging speech in English. Now let's talk about thinking in English. It's one of the most powerful shifts a learner can make, and it's a key sign of fluency. When you think in English, you stop translating from your native language. You start forming ideas directly in English, and that makes speaking faster and more automatic. To develop this habit, begin with small, simple thoughts. When you're walking, think, "I'm going to the shop," or "It's a beautiful day." Don't worry if your grammar isn't perfect. The goal is to keep your inner voice in English as much as possible. Here's a practical way to practice. Set aside 5 minutes every day where you only think in English. You can talk to yourself silently or out loud, describing what you're doing or what you see. For example, I'm opening the fridge. I see some apples. I'll make a salad. These are ordinary thoughts, but they train your brain to operate in English. Over time, this builds the foundation for fluent speaking. Let's move to practicing real-world decision-making in English. This means imagining common situations and choosing what to say based on the context. For example, imagine you're late for a meeting. What would you say? Try, I'm so sorry for being late. I got stuck in traffic. Or imagine you're asked to give your opinion at work. You might say, personally, I believe this idea has strong potential. These are everyday moments. And the more you prepare for them in advance, the easier they become in real life. Let's do a few more together. Imagine you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks what you'd like to order. Say, I'll have the grilled chicken, please, and a glass of water. Now imagine someone compliments your English. Say, thank you so much. I've been practicing a lot. Practicing responses to common situations will help you sound calm, natural, and in control. One final but powerful technique to help you speak like a pro is reviewing your own speech. This might mean recording yourself while you speak, then listening to it and making notes. Ask yourself, did I pause too much? Did I use the right vocabulary? Was I clear? Listening to yourself may feel strange at first, but it helps you hear how others perceive your English. You'll notice your strong points, and also the areas you need to work on. It's like being your own coach. Try this today. Record yourself talking for 1 minute about your daily routine. Then play it back and write down what you said. Notice if there were any mistakes or places you could improve. Then record it again with those improvements. This exercise builds awareness, confidence, and control, all essential for speaking English like a professional. Another technique that can help you sound like a pro is understanding and using contractions naturally. In spoken English, we don't always say every word in full. Instead of saying, I am going to eat, native speakers usually say, I'm gonna eat. She will be there becomes she'll be there. They are not coming becomes they aren't coming. Contractions are a part of the rhythm of spoken English. Learning to contract words while speaking can make your English sound more fluent, natural, and less robotic. But be careful, don't overdo it. Practice using common contractions until they feel natural. For example, you can take a simple paragraph and read it aloud, first slowly, and then faster, focusing on the flow and contraction. For practice, try reading, I'm going to meet my friend. She'll be there in a minute. We're going to grab coffee and talk about our weekend. Say it again with natural speed and rhythm. Now let's talk about one of the key qualities of professional English speakers, intonation. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice when you speak. It shows emotions, confidence, surprise, doubt, excitement, and more. Without intonation, speech can sound flat and lifeless. For example, if you say, you did what? With a rising tone at the end, it shows surprise. If you say, I can't believe this, with a downward tone, it may show disappointment. Try saying the same sentence with different emotions. Practice this out loud. I'm so happy you're here. Try it with excitement, then try it with sarcasm. The tone changes everything. Listening to how native speakers use intonation in movies, interviews, or podcasts is a great way to absorb the musicality of English. Then, shadow their speech to mimic that tone. Another important aspect to sound professional in English is to stop translating everything from your native language into English. This is a common problem for learners. Translating slows you down, makes you second guess, and often leads to awkward sentences. Instead, train your brain to think directly in English. How can you do this? Start small. Choose common things you do daily and describe them in English in your head. For example, while making breakfast, say silently or aloud, "I'm making tea. The water is boiling. I'll add sugar now." This habit, over time, will train your brain to form English thoughts without translation. Think of it as switching to English mode in your mind. Practice exercise from the moment you wake up tomorrow. Try describing your actions in English in your mind. Say things like, "I'm brushing my teeth. I need to check my phone," or "I'll wear my blue shirt today." This will seem strange at first, but with time, it becomes a powerful tool to improve thinking and speaking fluently. Fluent speakers also know how to use hesitation words or filler words smoothly. Words like, "well," "you know," "actually," "so," "I mean," and "let me think," are all used in everyday speech. They buy you a little time to think while still sounding natural. For example, "well, I'm not sure about that," or, "you know, I really liked that movie." Using these words helps you sound more conversational and relaxed. However, avoid overusing them. Practice by having short imaginary conversations using a few filler words. Example, "So I guess we could go out tonight?" "I mean, if you're free." Now let's discuss how body language and facial expressions can impact how confident and professional you sound while speaking. Even though our video doesn't show visuals, practicing speaking English in front of a mirror can help a lot. When you speak, look at your face. Are you smiling? Are you moving your hands naturally? Are you nodding, making expressions, and showing energy? Confident English speakers use body language to support what they say. Even in a phone conversation, your facial expressions can change your tone. If you smile, your voice sounds warmer. Practicing this helps build a connection when you speak and adds life to your words. Another practice that's essential is storytelling. Native and fluent speakers are often good at telling stories. Even simple events are told with emotion and a sense of structure. For example, instead of saying, "I went to the mall," a fluent speaker might say, "You won't believe what happened at the mall today. I was just walking around when suddenly I saw my old friend from school." See how it becomes more engaging? You can practice storytelling by picking a small event from your day and retelling it as if you're sharing it with a friend. Add details, emotions, and a little drama. This helps you develop fluency, improve vocabulary, and sound more natural. Let's do a quick storytelling practice. Think of something simple that happened today. Maybe you forgot your umbrella and got wet in the rain. Now try to tell that story in English. "Today was crazy. I left home thinking the weather was fine. But 20 minutes later, dark clouds appeared and it started pouring. And guess what? I didn't bring my umbrella. I had to run and hide under a small shop awning until the rain stopped." Practicing short stories like this every day boosts your speaking skills like nothing else. To speak English like a pro, you should also be aware of your weak areas. Maybe you always get confused between he and she. Or maybe your pronunciation of words like comfortable or vegetable needs work. Be honest with yourself. Notice the mistakes you repeat and work on them. You can even keep a small notebook and write down phrases or words that challenge you. Review them every evening. For instance, if you struggle with the word environment, write it down and practice it slowly, breaking it into parts and 6 Then use it in a sentence like, "We should protect the environment." Another habit of professional English speakers is paraphrasing. If you don't know how to say something exactly, try to say it differently using simpler words. This keeps the conversation going. For example, if you don't remember the word expensive, you can say it costs a lot of money. Or instead of I'm exhausted, say I'm really tired. Practice rephrasing your sentences when you feel stuck. This not only helps with fluency, but also improves your vocabulary over time. Now that we've walked through the essential practices, techniques, and real-life situations that can help you speak English like a pro, it's time to remind ourselves of one very important truth. Learning to speak like a native or a professional is not about copying someone's accent or memorizing thousands of words. It's about connecting with people, using clear, confident, and meaningful English. The more you practice thinking in English, expressing your ideas smoothly, and observing how English is used around you, the closer you get to that natural, fluent level. Let's do one final shadowing practice together. I'll say a sentence slowly, then repeat it again for you to say aloud after me. Focus on the rhythm, tone, and confidence in your voice. Here we go. First sentence. I know how to express myself clearly and professionally in English. Now repeat. I know how to express myself clearly and professionally in English. Second sentence. I don't worry about making mistakes. I focus on getting better every day. Repeat. I don't worry about making mistakes. I focus on getting better every day. Third sentence. Speaking English like a pro takes time, but I am getting closer every day. Now you say it. Speaking English like a pro takes time, but I am getting closer every day. These short affirmations not only help you practice English, but also build your mindset as a confident learner. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a few thoughts. If you want to become a pro in English, treat it like a long journey, not a quick race. Professional speakers in any language aren't perfect. They just know how to speak clearly, adjust their words to the listener, and stay calm even if they forget a word or make a mistake. Every single day, you have the chance to improve. Whether you speak with someone in English for 5 minutes, write a short paragraph in your journal, or listen to an English podcast, you are feeding your brain the input it needs to grow. Don't be afraid of repetition. Repeating the same phrases, questions, and sentence patterns builds fluency. Just like a musician practices the same chords again and again, an English speaker becomes more confident by repeating what they've learned in different situations. The phrase, "Could you please explain that again?" might seem simple, but using it naturally in a conversation shows maturity and fluency. The sentence, "Let me rephrase that," makes you sound clear and composed. The more you practice these kinds of expressions, the more automatic they become. And remember, thinking in English is one of the most powerful tools you can develop. The more you build your English inner voice, the easier it will be to respond quickly, confidently, and naturally. Whether you're shopping, texting a friend, or simply daydreaming, try to do it in English. Over time, your brain will accept English not as a foreign language, but as a natural part of your daily thought process. Let's also talk about feedback. A professional speaker is always open to feedback. If someone corrects your sentence, thank them. If you hear a better way to say something, write it down. Keep a small notebook or a notes app where you save powerful English phrases you hear throughout the day. These will be your tools and weapons in future conversations. One small phrase, used well, can completely change the impression you give during a conversation. Also, be kind to yourself. If you feel stuck, if you think your English isn't improving fast enough, take a deep breath and look at how far you've come. Remember the time when you couldn't even introduce yourself confidently. Now, look at you. You are listening to a full video in English, understanding it, practicing out loud, and taking steps towards speaking like a pro. That is progress. That is something to celebrate. Before we close, let's do one last mini exercise to seal everything we've learned today. Imagine you are meeting a new person at a professional event. Think in English. What will you say? Let me help you. You might say, "Hi, I'm Maria. It's really nice to meet you." The other person says, "Nice to meet you too. What do you do?" You answer, "I work in marketing, but I'm also really passionate about languages." The person says, "Oh, that's great. Do you speak more than one language?" You reply confidently, "Yes, I'm learning English, and I try to practice every single day." This kind of small, simple conversation shows your confidence. Practice this kind of dialogue in your mind daily, and you'll soon speak it out loud without hesitation. So, as we come to the end of this episode, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. You've made a powerful step today towards sounding more natural, more fluent, and more professional in English. Everything we practiced, daily conversations, expressions, shadowing, thinking in English, mindset training, are all pieces of the same puzzle. Keep practicing them, and you'll get better day by day. If this video helped you improve your confidence and fluency, every day, we post new content to help you grow your English skills step by step. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming lessons. You can also leave a comment below, sharing your favorite expression or what part of the video helped you the most. I always love hearing from you and watching our learners support one another. Thank you so much again for joining me today. Keep practicing, stay confident, and speak English like a pro. I'm Natasha, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep going. You've got this.